Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's meeting of the Assembly Committee on Growth and Infrastructure. Would the committee secretary please call the roll?
Assembly members Backus,
Present.
Brown May,
Here.
Carter,
Present.
Dickman,
Here.
Gallant,
Here.
Gurr,
Here.
Karas,
Here.
Moore, Wynn,
Here.
Urick, Chair Watts.
And I am here, thank you. Please mark Assemblymember Moore present when she arrives. She has another competing arrangement right now. So we do have a quorum. Welcome to everyone joining us today in Carson City, as well as down in Las Vegas, and anyone joining us by phone. A few housekeeping announcements before we begin. Please make sure to silence your electronic devices. If you would like to speak today, either to provide testimony on a bill or to provide public comment, please do sign in at the table in the back of the room. Provide a business card to our committee staff if you have one. If you would like to provide testimony or public comment by phone today, the number to call is 888-475-4499. When prompted, provide the meeting ID 833-3833-3613 and then press pound. That's a lot of threes, so you can also find that on our agenda, which is posted on the legislature's website. When testifying, please turn on the microphone before you speak. Clearly state and spell your name for the record before you speak for the first time. Turn your microphone off when you've finished, and please remember every time before you speak to announce your name for the record. I believe that covers all the housekeeping items. We have 2 bills on our agenda for today. I plan to take those bills in the order that they are listed on the agenda. So we will move right into it. We will begin with Assembly Bill 110. So I will open the hearing on Assembly Bill 110, which revises provisions relating to the designation of certain highways. Whenever you're ready, please begin.
Thank you, Chair, and I'm really excited to be here in front of Growth and Infrastructure, my actual favorite committee out of all of them. So, and this is hopefully going to be a really fun bill and an interesting bill for us to talk about. Essentially, AB 110 will commemorate the memory of Don J. Laughlin, who had a vision almost 50 years ago, and now we get to enjoy Laughlin. I will say, if you haven't been down there and you live in Las Vegas and it's 115 to 120 degrees, there's no better way to cool yourself off than going swimming in that Colorado River. So if any of you guys would like to join us, you're more than welcome to join our family on those hot summer days. But before we begin...
Before you really get going...
Oh my gosh, I didn't say my name. Danielle Gallant, for the record. Before we begin, Senator Jeff Stone would like to be able to co-sign onto this bill when it makes it over to the Senate side. So I just wanted to state that for the record as well. And so I don't take up too much of your time, I have Carrie Larson, the Executive Director of the Laughlin Chamber, who is going to talk about the bill and also the amazing life of Don Laughlin.
Welcome, Ms. Larson. We appreciate you coming up from almost the very southern tip of the state to join us. Please go ahead whenever you're ready.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Carrie Larson, Carrielarson. I am the Executive Director of the Laughlin Chamber of Commerce, and this was a project that was handed off to me when I was appointed to the position in December of 23. One of the key infrastructure projects that has been a long focal point of our region is the designation of Highway 163 in Nevada and Highway 68 in Arizona as the Colorado River Highway. It's a joint effort between Nevada and Arizona and underscores the importance of our most precious natural resource, the Colorado River. and the economic vitality that it brings to both states. By establishing a unified identity for these two critical transportation corridors, we enhance our ability to market our region as a premier tourism and business hub. Another central component of AB 110 is the posthumous naming of the bridge at the terminus of Highway 163 in honor of Donald J. Laughlin, the founder and namesake of our town. Despite its economic and historical importance, this bridge has never been formally named. AB 110 seeks to correct this oversight by ensuring that Donald J. Laughlin's legacy is forever recognized. So I'd like to share the incredible story of Don Laughlin.
Sorry. Danielle Gallant, for the record, I believe we have a PowerPoint to, maybe? What am I missing? Sorry. There it is.
There we go. Or not.
We're almost there. Okay,
All right.
perfect, thank you.
Carrie Larson. In a small town in Minnesota, a young boy named Donald J. Laughlin found a fascination with gaming. It wasn't the thrill of luck that intrigued him, it was the business behind it. As a child, he trapped mink and muskrat, selling the pelts to earn a modest income. But his true entrepreneurial spirit shined when he took that money and invested in slot machines, placing them in local pubs and sharing the profits with bar owners. By the time he was a teenager, he was making more money than his teachers. When given an ultimatum, quit the gambling business or leave school, Don chose his path without hesitation. Next slide. By the 1950s, Donald's ambitions took him to Las Vegas, where he worked as a bartender by day and trained as a dealer at night. He built his career, growing his fortune, but he had a vision far greater than Las Vegas. In 1964, flying his private plane over the rugged Mojave Desert, he spotted a quiet stretch of land along the Colorado River. It was desolate and barren except for a boarded-up 8-room motel. Where others saw emptiness, Don saw opportunity. 2 years later, he made his move. For $235,000 and only $35,000 down, he purchased the motel and 6 acres of riverfront land. In 1966, he opened the Riverside Resort, offering a humble but enticing package. 98-cent all-you-can-eat chicken dinners, 12 slot machines, 2 gaming tables, and a few rooms, half of which were occupied by Don and his family. Next slide. The town around Riverside Resort didn't have a name, but that changed when a U.S. Postal Service inspector demanded one to establish mail service. Laughlin, the inspector suggested, was a good Irish name, and so Laughlin, Nevada was born. What began as a small stop for motorists and fishermen grew at an astonishing pace. Expansion followed swiftly. 48 rooms in 1972, another 52 in 1975. By the 1980s, Laughlin wasn't just a roadside escape, it was a destination. Towers rose, adding hundreds of rooms. By 1994, a sleek 28-story tower transformed the skyline, adding 792 more rooms and costing over $70 million. And Don wasn't finished. Beyond gaming and hospitality, Don shaped the town's future. He personally funded the Laughlin Bridge connecting Nevada and Arizona, ensuring that travelers could easily reach his booming resort. It cost him $3.5 million, an investment not in profit, but in community. Today, an estimated 50,000 people cross that bridge daily. He donated his $1.2 million ranch home to Mojave Community College, now called Mojave College, ensuring education thrived in the region. Recognizing the importance of infrastructure, he spent $9 million on planning and flood control district for the Laughlin Bullhead City International Airport, now welcoming flights from across the country. From a desolate piece of land to a modern boomtown, Laughlin, Nevada became a city built on one man's dream. Next slide. Donald J. Laughlin lived 92 remarkable years, 57 of them spent at the Riverside Resort, the empire he built from nothing. His passion, vision, and unwavering belief in his dream turned a lonely stretch of the Colorado River into a vibrant destination for millions. To honor his contributions, the town that bears his name will hopefully now ensure his legacy never fades with the Donald J. Laughlin Memorial Bridge, a permanent testament to a man who turned a desert into a dream. Thank you.
Danielle Gallant, for the record. Thank you, Chair. If you were open to questions at this point in time, if the chair would like.
All right, thank you both very much for the presentation. We will open it up to members for questions. First, I have one. Where can the 98-cent chicken dinners be found in Laughlin currently?
I think those are long past, Carrie Larson. Long past now, but I will say that Laughlin's food prices are very, very affordable compared to other locations in the state of Nevada, for sure.
All right, very good. Members, any questions for our presenters? Assemblymember Backus.
Thank you so much, Chair. I just had a question because I was interested because you said the bridge didn't have a name, but I assume this is the new bridge that was named Silver Copper Crossing, and I was curious why it was named that.
Well, Carrie Larson, for the record, it is not that bridge. It is the bridge that was established north of the Riverside Resort. So as you come down the 163 into Laughlin, it terminates at that bridge going over into Bullhead City. They never officially named it. So this project has been on the books, in the works for several years to try and get it named after Don Laughlin. We do have the support of both Bullhead City, Clark County, Mojave County Supervisor, state senators in Arizona. So it is a widespread project for the entire region with numerous support.
Danielle Gallant, for the record. So the letters of support are in those exhibits. We wanted to make sure the committee had access to those.
All right, thank you. Members, any additional questions? Assemblymember Brown May.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. It's great to see you travel all this way. I'm just curious for clarity purposes, it's a state route. So in our bill presentation, it says the director, the Nevada Department of Transportation would be responsible for signage.
Danielle Gallant, for the record. As I understand it, yes. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Members, any additional questions? All right, seeing none. Thank you very much for the presentation. With that, we will now move on to testimony in support of Assembly Bill 110. Anyone wishing to provide testimony in support here in Carson City or down in Las Vegas, please step forward and fill the seats. We'll begin here in Carson City, then we'll go down to Las Vegas, and then we will move to the phone lines. Go ahead whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Chair. Glenn Levitt for the record, GLEN, LEAVITT. It didn't seem that long ago when we were sitting in this front row, shoulder to shoulder, bumping into each other with these chairs. But my good friend, Miss Larson, came all the way from Laughlin, so I figured I could walk from the back of the room up here to show support for my former constituent, and this is a great thing for the township of Laughlin, and we really appreciate the sponsor for bringing it. And I just wanted to vocalize my support as myself. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much. Assemblymember Levitt, it's always good to see you. And despite the renovations to the front of the building, this dais is exactly the same. So, We'll now, seeing no one else coming forward in Carson City, we'll now move down to Las Vegas. Please go ahead whenever you're ready.
Good afternoon, Chair Watts and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Taylor Avery, and I'm the Manager of Political Affairs for the Vegas Chamber. The Chamber is in support of AB 110. We support efforts to invest in the state's infrastructure. We appreciate the bill's intent to designate the Donald J. Laughlin Bridge after the city of Laughlin's namesake. Don Laughlin, who passed away in October 2023, helped to finance the bridge. We want to thank the bill sponsor for bringing the bill forward, and we want to thank the committee for its consideration. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Seeing nobody else coming forward in Las Vegas at this time, AVH, does anyone wish to provide testimony in support of AB 110 by phone?
To testify in support of Assembly Bill 110, please raise your hand in the Zoom window to take your place in the queue. If you have just joined and would like to testify in support of Assembly Bill 110, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue. Chair, we have no callers choosing to testify in support at this time.
Thank you. We'll now move on to testimony in opposition of Assembly Bill 110. Anyone wishing to provide testimony in opposition, either in Carson City or Las Vegas, please come forward. Seeing nobody at this time, AVH, can we check the phone lines?
To testify in opposition to Assembly Bill 110, please press star 9 or raise your hand in the Zoom window to take your place in the queue. Chair, we have no callers choosing to testify in opposition at this time.
Thank you, and we'll now move on to testimony in neutral on Assembly Bill 110. Anyone wishing to provide neutral testimony, either in Carson City or Las Vegas? Seeing nobody coming forward, AVH, can we check the phone lines once more?
To testify in neutral to Assembly Bill 110, please press star 9 or raise your hand in the Zoom window to take your place in the queue. Chair, we have no callers choosing to testify in neutral at this time.
All right, thank you. Would the sponsors like to make any closing remarks? Seeing them waved, very good. Also, you're already on a roll because I pulled up Laughlin on Google Maps and it's already named on there. So we've just got to get the state to catch up. So thank you, and with that, I will close the hearing on Assembly Bill 110. And we will take a quick 1-minute recess. Okay, we will now move on to the second item on our agenda for today, which is Assembly Bill 361. So I will now open the hearing on Assembly Bill 361, which makes various changes relating to public mass transportation. Welcome, Assemblymember Hunt, to the Committee on Growth and Infrastructure. Whenever you and your team are ready, please proceed.
Thank you, Chair Watts, Vice Chair Carter, and members of the committee. I'm Linda Hunt, and I have the honor of representing Assembly District 17 in beautiful North Las Vegas. I'm proud to be here this afternoon to present Assembly Bill 361 with my co-presenter, Ross Kinson. Okay, this bill protects Nevada public transit operators and strengthens Nevada transportation system. By implementing enhanced safety measures, AB 361 create a safer environment for both passengers and the transit workers who keep our communities moving. After extensive discussion with stakeholders from the RTC North, RTC South, the Culinary Union, the ACLU, AFL-CIO, and the Public Defender's Office, we reached a consensus that prioritized the safety of our transit workers. This is reflected in the conceptual amendments, viewable on Nellis. By removing provisions related to trespass order in section 1 and 2, all stakeholders have agreed this amendment best serves our shared goals of enhancing safety without adding unnecessary penalties. Before I turn it over to Ross Kinsom for the bill walkthrough, I would like to provide a brief background. According to recent estimate from the Urban Institute, which used data for the National Transit Database, major assaults on transit workers nearly tripled from 2008 to 2022. Major assaults in this instance are defined as assaults that result in fatality or injuries requiring medical transport. Not only has the total number of assaults on transit workers increased, but the data indicates the assaults are also happening in more places, becoming more frequent nationwide. We have seen violence against transit workers here in our state, with new stories coming out of Las Vegas and the Reno-Sparks area in which transit workers have been spit on, had things thrown at them, have been punched and kicked, and have even been targets of stabbings. So, Chair Watts, right now, I would like to turn it over to my co-presenter, Ross Kinsom, to do a walkthrough of the bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair and Committee. My name is Ross Kinson, for the record, R-O-S-S-K-I-N-S-O-N, and I am the President of the Northern Nevada Central Labor Council, as well as a business agent with Teamsters Local 533, who represents transit workers here in Northern Nevada. I'm here today to help present Assembly Bill 361, which is an essential piece of legislation as far as we're concerned. It's aimed at improving the safety and security of Nevada's public transit system. Public transportation is a vital service, connecting workers to jobs, students to schools, and families to essential services. Yet, the men and women who operate these systems have increasingly faced unacceptable risks, including physical assaults and harassment. AB 361 takes a focused and necessary approach to mitigating these threats by requiring regional transportation commissions in our largest counties to install protective infrastructure, such as barriers and panic buttons, to safeguard these transit operators. This bill sends a clear message. We value the safety of our transit operators and the passengers they serve. Before I get into the details of the bill, I would like to share a brief video with the committee. Please be advised that this footage that I'm about to show you is violent, but I urge you not to turn away. This is the reality that our public transit workers face every day. I am sorry that you all had to see that, but I think it's important that you see what our transit operators go through. The attack you just witnessed happened on February 3rd. This is a month ago, right here in Northern Nevada. Thomas Parsons is a 78-year-old transit operator. He suffered 6 broken ribs and a broken jaw in this attack. He's lost significant time from work, and while we are grateful that Thomas is in good spirits, his road to recovery will be long. Sadly, this is not an isolated incident. A recent article from This Is Reno by Bob Conrad highlights similar incidents. In reports on the suspect, Ryan Masteletto, who had prior convictions, this gentleman had prior convictions, of both grand larceny and battery. This underscores the escalating violence against transit operators. And this issue is not unique to Nevada. Nationwide, transit workers are being punched, robbed, and in some cases even killed. Public transit should not be a dangerous profession. Many of these workers are older adults or single parents who take on these jobs because they offer flexibility and a livable wage. Leaving them unprotected, unfortunately, is no longer an option. Now, I want to address the conceptual amendment. After extensive discussions with stakeholders from both northern and southern Nevada, we have agreed to refine the bill to focus solely on protecting transit operators. To achieve this, we have removed the trespass provisions and penalties against members of the public, ensuring that the core of the bill remains about worker safety. This amendment reflects the consensus that the best approach is prevention, not punishment. And with that, let me walk you through the amended language of the bill and the bill itself. So, again, AB 361 proposes amendments to Chapter 277A of the Nevada Revised Statutes to enhance safety of transit operators. This bill applies to counties with populations of over 100,000 or more and introduces infrastructure and technology requirements for transit vehicles requiring a commercial driver's license to operate. That is one of the amendments that's been added. Ultimately, in discussing with the stakeholders, we want to make it clear that this is about our larger buses, not the smaller buses that take around folks with disabilities or things like that. We don't have these kind of attacks on those buses. This needs to be about the large buses. Key provisions: safety infrastructure for transit operator. Transit commissions in large counties must install and maintain physical barriers to prevent unauthorized access to drivers' workstations and panic buttons and other safety technology to mitigate risks. 2, public awareness and crime deterrence. This bill would require the installation of signage informing passengers of criminal penalties for crimes against transit operators or the public. Specifically, assault of a transit operator, which is under 200471 of the NRS, and battery of a transit operator, 200481. Scope of the application: the safety measures, barriers, and panic buttons must be implemented in all transit vehicles required by a CDL to operate. The implications ultimately for transit agency is increased responsibilities for infrastructure upgrades and compliance. For transit operators, it's enhanced safety measures to reduce risk for workplace violence. And for the public, it's a greater awareness of the legal consequences for attacking transit workers. So with that, you'll notice that the biggest portion of this is that Section 2 has been taken out in its totality. Again, we've added language that specifies that it must be a vehicle that is operated by a CDL driver. And I think with that, I will close my portion of the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ross. Thank you, Chair. We're open for questions.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for your presentation. We do have some questions from members. I'll start with Assemblymember Nguyen.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you both for this presentation. And yes, that video is gonna stay with me for a while. Sorry, collecting my thoughts for a second. And I definitely think that the safety risks are very necessary. In terms of the technicality of the Section 1 now, I did not see a date that this needs to be done by. Is that the intention of the bills, to leave it blank, or is there a, sort of a date that you have on this particular legislation?
Thank you for the question, Ross Kinson, for the record. The intent in speaking with the stakeholders is to get this done as soon as possible. We didn't have a specific date in mind. If the stakeholders or the chair are wanting that, or the committee is wanting that, we certainly wouldn't be opposed to it.
Okay, great. Quick follow-up, Chair.
Go ahead.
And then in terms of going back to the appropriate, right, infrastructure and technology, what standard are we basing that out of? Is it commercials, other parts of the state or country? I mean, obviously not Nevada because that's why we're doing this legislation. But what industry standard are we using, mimicking maybe a state in the U.S. that's doing this, or perhaps a similar standard that we're following by? So just want to get that clarity on record.
Ross Kinson for the record. So a lot of this is already being done in Southern Nevada, so we're following their model to make sure that it's consistent throughout the state. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. And I would just like to ask legal to weigh in on this. I believe that since there is no effective date clearly listed in the act, the automatic effective date is October 1. Could our legal counsel clarify that for us?
Hi, it's Jesse Demmer with the LCV Legal Division. Yes, if no date is specified in the bill, it becomes effective October 1st following passage.
Thank you very much. I believe next we have a question from Assemblymember Backus.
Thank you so much, Chair, and thank you for bringing this bill. I mean, people that are serving, and I look at, like, even though it's a private capacity, he's like obviously a public servant providing a service that's much needed to individuals and shouldn't have his life at risk as well as other drivers. My question was, I'm just trying to interpret the bill under 1A. And I was looking at the resources, and I think I do understand it, that the larger buses that where drivers require a CDL license, that barriers as well as a panic button, so it's an and, it's not an or situation, would be required. And then my question was, because I couldn't help but think about like when airplanes had to be modified and the doors being reinforced so no one could enter into the cockpits. What is it that you were looking at as to these barriers? I was just kind of curious what that would look like. I'm imagining maybe plastic or something that's in there to prevent someone from getting to the driver. So I was kind of wondering what the intent behind that is, like what you're looking at.
Thank you, Ross Kinson, for the record. So the intent is very much what you're looking at. To answer the first part of your question, yes, it is an and, not an or. And secondly, we would like to make sure that there is a physical full barrier in between the riders and the drivers to make sure that it's not just about getting dragged out of their seat and assaulted, as you saw in the video. We've had incidents where riders have brought on animals, dogs, things like that, and they've gotten to drivers, so making sure that that's taken care of. We've had drivers get spit on, in some cases urinated on, so a full barrier. And the RTCs are very aware of this and are doing in our stakeholder meetings have been very, understanding of what it is that those barriers should be. Thank you.
Thank you. And I believe that we will have representatives from one, if not both, of the RTCs. So perhaps when they come up, they can speak about that a little bit as well. Next, we'll go to Assemblymember Dickman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was just wondering what prompted you to take out all of these consequences of violating this? Is it because in Section 1, there are already criminal penalties for these actions, or?
Ross Kinson for the record, thank you for the question. So yes, ultimately there are already criminal penalties that are above and beyond. The Section 2 of the bill had a lot to do with removal from the ridership from using public transit. Ultimately, when we met and talked with all the stakeholders, it became very apparent to us quickly that this bill at its core is about protecting our drivers, and in turn that will make riders safer. Putting those riders in a position where they cannot use this public service, I don't think that was what we originally came into with the intent of the bill. So this really gets more to the heart of what we're trying to accomplish, which is making sure our public drivers are safe.
Okay, I was just a little concerned if there were consequences, this wouldn't be enough to prevent them.
Yeah.
But if there are already penalties, I
Yep.
do understand.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you. And I think there might be another policy coming up during this session that relates to some of those issues, so stay tuned. Next, I believe we have a question from Assemblymember Karas.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you both for a really impactful presentation. My question is, I believe I heard you state that this is going to be specifically for the larger buses. Do we have an idea of how many large buses we have in Nevada?
I cannot speak specifically to Southern Nevada. Up here in Northern Nevada, we have between 60 and 70 buses currently in service.
You are on a roll. That's Ross Kinson for the record. Next, we'll go to Assemblymember Gallant. Just kidding. Members, do we have any additional questions for the presenters at this time? Assemblymember Moore.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for bringing this bill forward. It's important, for folks who go to work to be in a safe environment. I do have a question. That video was very impactful. Do you have any data or numbers on how many incidents a year are happening, whether it's Northern Nevada or Southern Nevada, or both?
Thank you for the question, Ross Kinson, for the record. I don't have specifics in front of me. I know that we have a couple of our stewards here today and bus drivers from the north, as well as my principal officer, who may be able to highlight that a little bit more. I do know that our numbers continue to go up, though, and that's the impetus for why we brought this bill, is because every year we do see an unfortunate increase in this, and it is happening all across the nation. So I know that in several other areas, a lot of states are looking at doing similar things and implementing, barriers and things of that nature. So it felt like this was something that we needed to do as well.
Thank you. Okay, any other questions? Assemblymember Gurr.
Thank you, Chair. This is disgusting, really disgusting. And there's nobody else in that bus to help him. So is there any protections we can put into any of these policy bills that come in if somebody steps up, gets the guy off the driver, and then we protect the defender? Not unlike what they did in New York, where they hung that guy out to dry for a long time, found him innocent, but still, if we're gonna put policies in place, let's let somebody who defends that bus driver, because he could have got killed when the guy came back and stomped him. I think we need to find some way to put into policy that a good Samaritan doesn't get hung up because of some silly rule we have in Nevada. Can we look at that through, maybe not this bill, but in the future?
Roskins, for the record, I do completely understand what you're saying. I know that, again, the impetus for this bill is first and foremost focusing on the drivers. This will help in a lot of different ways. It will keep routes going on time. It will make it so that there are far less disturbances. It will keep the driver safe. And if we continue to have incidents, then I would certainly imagine that I'll be back here revisiting this issue next session.
All right, thank you. We'll keep that discussion going. Members, any other questions? All right, seeing none. Thank you both very much for the presentation. We'll now move on to testimony for Assembly Bill 361. We'll start with testimony in support. Anyone wishing to provide testimony in support on AB 361, either in Carson City or Las Vegas, please come forward, take a seat. Seems like we have more than 3 folks here. So as you finish, please exit the seats, and whoever would like to come next, please fill in that seat so we can keep things moving. With that, whoever would like to go first, please proceed.
Thank you, Chair and Assembly members. Sorry. committee members. My name is Andrew Rivas. For the record, I'm a political field organizer with Teamsters 533. It's RIVAS. I would like to read a statement from Thomas Parsons. He is the member that you saw in this video. He's unable to be here today due to illness. Good afternoon. My name is Thomas Parsons, and I am a public transit driver in Reno. I never thought that showing up for work would put my life in danger. But on February 3rd, I was violently attacked while driving my route. I had no barrier between myself and my attacker. I had no quick way to call for help. I was left vulnerable, and I was lucky to walk away. No one should ever have to fear for their life while doing their job. The stress of worrying about what might happen next is unbearable. AB 361 is not just about my experience, it's about protecting every transit worker in the state from enduring the same trauma. We need barriers, we need panic buttons. We need laws that ensure consequences for those that commit these violent acts. I am asking you, please pass AB 361 before another driver gets hurt or worse. Thank you.
Chair and members of the committee, my name is Gary Watson. I am the principal officer of Teamsters Local 533, representing the hardworking men and women who keep public transit running in northern Nevada. I am here today in strong support of AB 361 because we cannot allow our transit operators to be treated as punching bags while simply doing their jobs. Just last month, one of our own, Thomas Parsons, was brutally attacked and severely beaten while behind the wheel of a public transit bus in Sparks, Nevada. This is not an isolated incident. It is part of a disturbing trend of escalating violence against transit workers that has happened numerous times in Washoe and Clark counties. Nevada transit workers deserve better. This bill mandates real, concrete safety measures like protective barriers and panic buttons, basic protections that should already be in place. We are tired of empty promises and half measures. It is time for action. Nevada transit workers deserve to go to work without fear of being assaulted, and the transit passengers deserve a safe ride. I urge you to pass AB 361. Thank you, and it's WATSON for the record.
Hello, my name is Amanda Nelson, NELSON for the record. Committee members, my name is Amanda. I'm a public transit driver, I'm a CDL instructor, and a union steward. I wish I could say what happened to Tom was an isolated incident, but the truth is it is happening everywhere. In Washington state, the drivers are fighting for stronger barriers after repeated assaults. In Illinois, a driver just saved a student from an attack. The violence against transit workers is growing, and if we don't act now, more lives will be at risk. AB 361 is a necessary response to a national crisis. We are on the front lines, exposed and unprotected. This bill will provide the safety measures we need: barriers, panic buttons, and public awareness of the consequences of attacking a transit worker. No one should fear for their safety just for showing up to work. The time to act is now. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Olivia Tanager on behalf of the Sierra Club Toyabe chapter. For the record, we believe that public transit workers are on the front lines of making our communities cleaner and safer, and we believe that they should be protected. We believe that transit workers are the real environmental heroes in this state. We need more people to be on public transit. We need people to feel safe on public transit, but most importantly, we need transit workers that feel safe doing their job every day. So we fully support this bill as amended, and we hope you will too. Thank you.
Hi, yes, my name is Earl Brian Nelson, BRYNELSEN. I've been a transit worker going on 17 years now. I'm a firm believer in AB 361, and I hope you are too. I've been a shop steward for 533, going on 16 years now. I've watched too many of my co-drivers get assaulted, beat up, spit on, alcohol thrown at them. it's just getting way out of hand. We need barriers, we need panic buttons. Our supervisors are too far apart, don't have enough emergency time to get to us. We need this. It's not just about protecting our drivers, it's about protecting passengers too. When a driver is assaulted, the entire bus becomes unsafe. We need, when we have barriers and emergency systems in place, we can focus on driving, ensuring the safety of everyone on board. This bill is common sense and it's long overdue. I urge you to stand with us, stand with our passengers, and pass AB 361. Thank you.
Hello, Chair Watts, Vice Chair Carter, and members of the committee, Esmeralda Vasquez, ESMERALDA VAZQUEZ, representing the AAA Travel Club of Northern California, Nevada, and Utah. AAA supports AB 361 as it stands because the legislation will install safety features like barriers and panic buttons to protect transit workers, as well as putting up signs that clearly inform the public of penalties for attempting to harm the safety of others. AAA believes this would help lower the risk of automotive-related fatalities that continue to take the lives of hundreds of Nevadans. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Susie Martinez, and I am the Executive Secretary Treasurer of the Nevada State AFL-CIO. A few sessions ago, I was fortunate to serve with many of you guys, and when I worked here, I always felt protected. People had to come through the safety things, no, for guns, any knives, anything, and I felt very comfortable coming to work every single day. In the capacity that I'm at now, I currently had a stalker. I advised all of my staff. We actually equipped the office so that we could all be safe, myself, my whole staff, myself included. Regardless of whatever station, whether you're an assembly person, secretary, treasurer, or a bus driver, we all need worker protections. That's why it is so imperative that you guys look over this bill, ask the questions, and pass this bill. It is important that every single one of us, legislators, secretary, treasurer, bus driver, everybody should be able to come home to their families, not have broken ribs, not be beat up, or anything even worse, even killed. So with that being said, please pass this legislation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's 2019 Reunion Day in Growth and Infrastructure. So good to see you again, Assemblymember Martinez. Thank you. Please, sir, go ahead.
Oh,
I got you.
thank you. Dennis Vollmer, V as in Victor, OLLMER, transit operator, Northern Nevada. And I just wanted to say that I completely support this bill of AB 361. Also belong to the Teamsters 533.
Good afternoon, committee. For the record, my name is Wendy Colborne, Colborne, and I'm the Chief of Staff for the Northern Nevada Building and Construction Trades Council. We represent over 6,000 working men and women in Northern Nevada, and the Teamsters are one of our affiliates. And we are in strong support of this bill, not only because it's a compassionate measure and everyone deserves safety at work, but also because it's a very practical and cost-effective measure. The cost of that man's stay in the hospital is going to be much more than the cost of barriers, and we would see that for every incident of assault. So we hope you support this bill, and thank you for hearing us today.
For the record, my name is Mark Ellis. I'm the President of Communication Workers of America, Local 9413. And those of you that know me know that I normally try to come up here and be a little glib and get in and get out as quickly as possible. That's disgusting. This bill needs to be passed.
Good afternoon, Chair, Committee. My name is Zach Bucher, Government Affairs Manager from the great city of North Las Vegas. I believe it's the first time I've been in Growth this session, so thank you for having me. Chair, I happen to agree with you. It does look the same in here, very quaint, homely. But here today in support of the bill, we'd like to thank the bill sponsor. Every piece of legislation she's brought so far is looking out for the vulnerable people in our society. This bill is no exception. So that's why we're here today in support. It also aligns with our mayor and city council's goals of public safety. So we urge your support as well. Thank you.
Thank you. And not seeing former Assemblymember Roberts coming in to continue the reunion, We'll move on to Southern Nevada. Whoever would like to go first, please go ahead and proceed.
Good afternoon, everybody. For the record, my name is Kim Renee, RENEE, President of Nevada SAG-AFTRA. Safety is the most important. I strongly urge you to support this bill. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Francisco Miranda, Miranda, business agent with Teamsters Local 631. At the end of the day, this is a safety, win-win for everybody. Sometimes management likes to refer to us as the captain of the ship. If we can do anything to keep the captain of the ship safe for a few more seconds so he can pull that bus over and assess the situation instead of being dragged on the ground, I mean, this will buy us, some time to keep the passenger safe, the community safe from that bus just rolling away, like we seen in that video. I strongly urge the committee to support AB 361. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your testimony. Seeing nobody else coming forward in Las Vegas or in Carson City, AVH, can we see if anyone would like to provide testimony in support of AB 361 by phone?
Testify in support of Assembly Bill 361. Please press *9 now to take your place in the queue.
Good afternoon. For the record, my name is Joseph Graham, JOSEPH, I'm the Chief Steward for CWA 9413. I strongly urge the committee to support this bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Next caller, please.
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Chris Fuqua, that's F as in Frank, UQUA, and I'm the Vice President of Teamsters Local 533, and I strongly urge the committee to support AB 361. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Next caller, please.
Thank you, Chairman Watts. My name is Edward Goodrich, Goodrich. I represent the IATSE Local 363 stagehand workers in Reno. We strongly support AB 61 and the additional protections offered to drivers. I, for one, am tired of hearing the repeated stories of violence on our local nightly news, as are our members who use RTC to get to work. I thank the committee for their time.
Thank you for your testimony. Next caller, please.
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. My name for the record is Linda Ward Smith, spelled LINDAWARD-SMITH, and I am a union member and president representing the American Federation of Government Employees, and I strongly urge the committee to support AB 361. Thank you.
Thank you. Next caller, please.
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Maria Teresa Hank, MARIATERESAHANK, and I'm a union member of TWU Local 556. I've been a 35-year flight attendant, and I can completely relate to these poor transit workers that are being assaulted at work. And I strongly urge the committee to support AB 361. Thank you.
Thank you. Next caller, please.
You have recently joined the call and would like to testify in support of Assembly Bill 361. Please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair. For the record, I'm Connie McMullen, CONNIE MCMULLEN, speaking on behalf of the Senior Coalition of Washoe County in favor of AB 361. As having a member on our board that is a representative of the RTC of Washoe County, and being a past member, having served over 12 years on the RTC boards, including 2 of their blue ribbon transportation committees, I wholeheartedly agree with this bill, and violence is too often, an occurrence for the RTC drivers. Please support this. We ask for your favor. Thank you.
Thank you. Next caller, please.
Good afternoon, Chair. My name is Mickey Grizzle, and I'm with the Letter Carriers Union 2778, as well as the president of the Nevada State Association. And I wholeheartedly would like to support AB 361. Letter carriers throughout the nation have gone through similar items, and it's embarrassing that a state or a county cannot stand up and protect those other transit workers. Thank you.
Thank you. Next caller, please.
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Liz Sorensen. That's L-I-Z, last name S-O-R-E-N-S-O-N. I am strongly in support of AB 361, and I urge this committee to do the same. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next caller, please.
Chair, there are no additional callers to testify in support.
Thank you. With that, we will move on to testimony in opposition of Assembly Bill 361. Anyone wishing to provide testimony in opposition here in Carson City or in Las Vegas, please come forward. Seeing nobody at this time, AVH, does anyone wish to provide opposition testimony by phone?
Testify in opposition to Assembly Bill 361. Please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Chair, there are no callers for opposition testimony.
Thank you. We'll now move to neutral testimony on Assembly Bill 361. If anyone would like to provide neutral testimony, please come forward. Please go ahead whenever you're ready.
Hi, Chair Watson, members of the committee. My name is Demi Falcon. For the record, it's DEMI-FALCON, and I'm speaking on behalf of the Regional Transportation Commission of Southern Nevada. So the RTC has already implemented the safety measures outlined in Section 1 of the bill, which was already mentioned, and that includes driver enclosures, panic buttons, and live-looking cameras throughout our fleet. And it was also mentioned that you may want to see some of the barriers that we've already implemented in our vehicles. We're more than happy to share images of those barriers. But we appreciate Assemblywoman Hunt's collaboration on a friendly amendment to clarify the bill's applicability and for her commitment to transit safety. And with these protections already in place, we testify neutral on the bill, and we remain committed to ensuring the safety and security of not only our transit operators, but our passengers as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Falcon.
Thank you, Chair. Michael Hillerby, M-I-C-H-A-E-L-H-I-L-L-E-R-B-Y, on behalf of RTC Washoe County. Also would like to thank the sponsor for working with us, as well as Mr. Kinson. This bill has moved quickly. We had good meetings at the end of last week, and appreciate the work that everybody's put in on the bill. The RTC is officially neutral. Horrible incident, which you saw, While the majority of the RTC fleet already has bus enclosures on the large buses, the fixed route, there are some that do not. In this case, some of the older buses had to be pulled back in because of maintenance issues on others. There were 28 enclosures ordered last November. We expect those to be arriving either tomorrow or early next week, and then they'll be immediately installed in these older buses that were put back into service. That was the case here. As with RTC Southern Nevada, we have video cameras, other safety measures, and panic buttons on most of that fleet. So again, these are things we're doing, but know that it's important that we continue to move those and other safety measures forward. Again, appreciate the amendment and particularly the inclusion of the CDL language that limits that to that large fleet, as was mentioned earlier. The paratransit buses where you have one driver and one passenger and they're assisting the passenger is an entirely different set of circumstances. If there are questions from the committee, I'd be happy to answer those. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hillerby. Not seeing anyone jumping out with questions, I think we'll move forward. Seeing nobody coming forward to provide additional testimony in neutral, either in Carson City or in Las Vegas, we will move to the phones. AVH, would anyone like to provide neutral testimony on AB 61? 361.
Testify in neutral to Assembly Bill 361. Please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Chair, there are no callers to testify in neutral at this time.
All right, thank you. Would the sponsor like to make any closing comments?
Thank you, Chair Watts and Vice Chair Carter and members of the committee. Linda Hunt for the record. Oh, I did it. I didn't forget it. I just want to thank you guys so much for your consideration of this bill. I urge your support of AB 361. It is so crucial, so important, and I just want to thank all of you guys. Appreciate you. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Already becoming a professional at this. So with that, we will close the hearing on Assembly Bill 361 and move on to the last item on our agenda today, which is public comment. Again, we're going to limit public comment to 2 minutes. If anyone would like to provide public comment, either here in Carson City or in Reno, please come forward. Anyone wishing to provide public comment by phone, please dial 888-475-4499. And when prompted, enter the meeting ID 833-3833-3613 and press pound. Seeing nobody coming forward to provide public comment in person at this time, AVH, would anyone like to provide public comment by phone?
If you would like to provide public comment, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue. Chair, we have no callers choosing to provide public comment at this time.
All right, thank you very much, members. That concludes our business for today. Our next meeting will be on Tuesday, March 18th at 1:30 p.m. We are adjourned.